Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to our channel and thanks for logging on. Today we're discussing the IWC Portuguese Tourbillon Mystere, 44mm in 18-karat white gold. This one of 250 Flying Tourbillon limited edition can be seen and purchased on our website. Subscribe to our YouTube channel if you enjoy these videos, and please click on the card in the upper right hand corner of the screen at any time during this video to see our full listing for this watch with additional accessories included in the sale, high resolution images, and naturally complete pricing details for the 7-day power reserve automatic winding Flying Tourbillon limited edition. And if that sounds like a mouthful, it is. This watch has manifold virtues. Everything from the look of it to the way it's put together to the story behind it is compelling, and so is the size and stance. On my wrist, 44mm across the round of the case from roughly 9 o'clock to 3 o'clock, not inclusive of the crown. It's actually slimmer than you might guess, 14.5mm with a nice concave bezel that allows a dress cuff or tight sleeve to ramp up and over the case. It actually wears quite well with formal attire. It's not a giant from top to bottom, nor is it excessive across the wrist. From extremity to extremity, 52mm is quite reasonable for a timepiece of this diameter and heft, and you will notice the heft. On the wrist, again, mine is 16 centimeters in circumference. The watch sits securely with a nice sense of proportion. It has beautiful short and sharply tapered lugs that nicely wrap themselves around the forearm. The strap is substantial, beautifully bolstered down the center. It is a monotone stitched, centrally bolstered rectangular scale, dark blue or navy blue alligator leather. On the underside, a beautiful matching navy calfskin with folded edges. It comes with a beautiful and massive, alternately polished and satin finished IWC single fold deployant, Schaffhausen signed on the inside, IWC signed on the buckle. This is beautifully made, and in its own right, it's more massive than some ultra-thin watches I've experienced. So the strap and the clasp live up to the billing of the timepiece itself, but it's beautifully nuanced. And the great thing is, unlike certain watches that force you to turn them over to admire the works and the artisanal virtues, this one is all about the dial and the case. Let's start with the case. I've already talked about the sensuous curve of the lugs, but you can also see the contrast between the satin flanks and the polished tops. That beautiful concave bezel really pares down the visual mass of the watch, and you'll note it individually numbered on its flanks. Now, you'll also note that the watch is all dial, as this gorgeous ardoise sort of anthracite sunburst has been pushed out to the very edges of the 42mm case, meaning that this watch is dominated by the functional portions of its construction rather than being crowded by a heavy bezel and an excessive case. IWC has opened up the face of this timepiece for your admiration. White gold applied Arabic numerals, white gold leaf hands, and white gold lancet small seconds and power reserve scale, and then a gorgeous screw-fixed sort of metallic Côte de Genève bezel that surrounds the Flying Tourbillon, and you can see the Côte de Genève cut into it from this angle. You can also see those small screws, a little tribute to F. Pigeon, one might say. Now, the Flying Tourbillon debuted in the Portuguese line in 2004 with the reference you see here, 5042-07. Now, here's the thing. By 2004, everyone was doing a tourbillon, and many manufacturers decided that their point of entry to the world of wristwatch tourbillon should be something different. Grubel Force researched watchmaking history and found that statistically, the average angle of a watch on the wrist was 30 degrees, so they launched the 30-degree tourbillon for utmost precision. In the early 90s, Jaeger-LeCoultre got into tourbillons in the wristwatch, and they decided that they would create a tourbillon movement of solid gold, sized and shaped for a reverso, visible only when you rotated the case. And IWC, which was not new to tourbillons and wristwatches, but was introducing them into the hollowed Portuguese line for the first time, decided that the Flying Tourbillon would be the company's signature, and you can see it. A Flying Tourbillon has no bridge across its top, anchored only on the root on the bottom, allows unencumbered view of the tourbillon cage, the balance, and the escapement, and this one is gorgeous. It has a quirky beat rate, 19,800 vibrations per hour, but you can see the oxidized blue Breguet overcoil hairspring that allows the watch to enjoy isochronism and concentric beating in any position. You'll also note a 7-day power reserve. Now, you can wind it manually, but one of the supplemental refinements of this watch is that it's based on IWC's in-house 50,000 series oversized automatic movement, the world's largest automatic movement. It features IWC's signature pawl-based Peloton winding system, the substance of which you can see just below my thumb. Now it has 44 joules. It does beat at that quirky beat rate. It winds in both directions, so it doesn't have unidirectional rotor wobble, which is important when you have a rotor this large, that it never have a wobbling freewheel direction for the sake of refinement. It is nicely finished, mostly machine finished to be perfectly honest. Everything that is truly artisanal about the finish and execution is on this side. So you can wind it if you like, you can allow it to wind itself, and it's nice for the gentleman who has a collection of watches, because with the 7-day power reserve, this can enter a rotation without having to be continuously reset. It's beautifully made, and again, with the heart of the 50,000 series automatic caliber, it's not a precious, delicate thing. It's not high-strung or finicky. It comes from a great house, and it represents one of the iconic model lines of one of Swiss watchmaking's greatest brands. You can see this IWC Portuguese Tourbillon Mystere with flying tourbillon and automatic winding, one of only 250 made, and purchase it on our website.